Think and Grow Rich is Outwitting the Devil, but the mild version. It's the palatable version.
Oh my gosh,
Outwitting the Devil is a certain. You gotta have a mind.
I gotta finish it because you gave me that.
Yeah,
one.
because the interview is the book is an interview with the devil.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So he's playing both characters,
Jesus.
and he's interviewing the devil, and he's playing the devil.
Okay.
It's almost like when people. He's so ahead of his time. It's almost like when people chat GPT. If I were the devil and I wanted to destroy the world, what would I do?
Right.
And they read it on he did that in the 1900s without AI.
Imagine.
So think about it. So people do that now and they do that problem. That's not cool. Napoleon Hill did that without AI or actual computer, just from his spiritual knowledge of the way society worked and the way the Bible was written. Yeah.
That was Holy Spirit led.
Correct. Yeah. Napoleon Hill.
Lord, I'm trying to get like that.
He's top 5 for me author wise. And it's funny because I've wanted to write books literally my whole life, and I never thought that I had enough authority to write one. So there was this one book I was gonna write. This was 2008, 2010. It was when I hurt my knee. It was called I called it Hurricane Life or something like that. I was like a hurricane, I always like Okay, being from Florida, hurricane, and then life is like life is a storm. Like life is literally like being a South Floridian. You're either preparing for a storm or coming out of a storm.
Right.
Because then hurricane season reminds you of that. That once a year we get our supplies, we stock up in the summertime, we get ready, we brace it, and it's either going to be as bad or as catastrophic as we thought, or not. But by getting through it, we realize how resilient we are, how we can overcome things, and then we rebuild. But we know the cycle is coming again.
Right.
It's like just because it's January,
it's that part.
Just because it's January doesn't mean that come June we're not going to be looking every day on the weather at what's coming from the Atlantic. And
that's true.
And we don't freak out about it.
Right.
And I'm like, so if you could learn to live your life like how we prepare for hurricane season, then you would live a good life. And so I had this whole concept for a book. I procrastinated on it. I never did it. And then Rick Ross came out with a book called Hurricanes.
Listen.
And I was like, damn,
listen.
Now I can't make a book called Hurricanes being another black male from Miami. It looks like I'm copying Rick Ross.
No, that's just your confirmation. That was your confirmation from God that you were supposed to write this book. And out of your disobedience, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what happened.
So let's just say that's happened many times.
Jesus.
There's a lot of ideas I've had that it's like a dream deferred, I just didn't do it.
Oh my
and then I saw it happen. I'm talking about songs I've written.
I know. I heard a couple of your songs.
There's a couple songs I've written that actually came out.
And they sound good, Edwards.
There's songs I've literally written, the title of the song has come out, or the same lyrics have come out.
Right.
And I'm like, damn, I should have wrote that. I should have put that out
It's
there.
not late.
It's not too late. Right. So I tell you all that to say this. So I'm sitting and I'm a big Myron Golden fan.
That's our dog. That's our
I
call him
and so
big father.
He's just talking about him. I like Myron Golden, and I'm a big fan of the Hormozis, Cody Sanchez, a couple other people in business that also are creators on YouTube.
Okay.
I started my first YouTube channel actually in 2013, and I never did anything with it. It was called John Carl Life, and I made 3 episodes. I was still teaching in Cypress Bay. The people who saw you're amazing at YouTube, you should keep going. I just stopped because I was a perfectionist. I look back and it was a stat anybody who created a YouTube channel back in 2013 and stay consistent with it now is on the whole. So, but it's it's never too late. So that whole analysis paralysis has always been a big issue of mine. And I saw a Myron Golden video about how the devil their spirits about procrastination and how it's because when you have greatness within you, I feel the devil will try to use distractions to keep you from
every
overthinking.
which way possible.
I never felt comfortable in what I was doing, literally since probably 2013. I always felt something was wrong, something was missing. I didn't know what it was. I was always searching for it.
Right.
But I was always too afraid to take that like step out there.
And you did it. You did it.
Yeah. And then once I did it finally and left the school system, remember that I was like irrational.
Right.
Remember that I was erratic. But it was something I actually calculated. I planned it out very meticulously. And, you know, if you read any Robert Greene books and 40 Laws of Power or 30 Strategies of War, like you should really conceal your intentions to a certain degree. I mean, you should, I think there's a balance of concealing your intentions, but also declaring them to force you to take action on them. So that's where you have to have the right circle.
Right.
Of who you declare things to, because they're going to hold you accountable, or
they're going to be a monitoring spirit and bring you down.
Right.
Because that's real.
Or you'll sync with them.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in bed, listening to a Myron Golden video. I'm procrastinating.
Lord.
He's talking about procrastinating. It's like 7 a.m. and like I snooze my alarm, but I just sat there watching a YouTube video. And then he talked about procrastination and this and that. And then I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm not procrastinating because I'm learning right now.
Right.
So then I go to the next video, and the next video is about like speed and executing and doing things right away. And then the next video is about how the ages are changing so fast. Like, you know, we went through, you know, hunter-gatherer stage, that was thousands of years. Feudalism, that was hundreds of years. Industrial Revolution, hundreds of years. Goodness. But now, the past 15 years, it's like you have the COVID era, the AI era, the this era, like, and they're changing quickly. Right, social media, this, boom, boom. And like, so industries are transforming so fast. And I'm like, this is what I was frustrated about with schools. And I'm like, I used to sit in meetings and people were literally just like talking about reading scores. And I'm just like, I'm like, listen, like, this is not to be disrespectful to anybody in education. I have a lot of friends that are educational leaders. Like, I'm not disrespecting any of you. But I urge all of you in the next Arena Leadership meeting, do a Google search of the top 10 most important skills to succeed in the future world. And then ask yourself, are you focusing on those top 10 skills? And the answer is going to be no. So then you have to then ask yourself, how do you feel about that? Me, it pissed me off. It pissed me off that why aren't we talking about prompt engineering? Why aren't we talking about Python? Why aren't we talking about social media skills? Why aren't we talking about collaborative skills? Why aren't we talking about globalized economies? Why aren't we talking about financial literacy?
Right.
Why are we only teaching Dave Ramsey in financial literacy when that's one person? Why is Dave Ramsey even in the education system? Start asking yourself these really questions like, why don't we learn about cryptocurrencies? Why are we learning about this? And then you're just like, why do we wait to teach economics to the last year of school?
Right.
You ask enough of these whys, and you're going to start answering those questions and you realize the system is doing what it's supposed to do.
Keep them in a box.
And it's to keep people in a box and distort you.
Yeah.
Because all kids are created creators. Yeah. All kids are creators.
Yep.
All kids are artists until they're told they're not.
Right.
When they're told to stop scribbling in school.
Or be quiet, sit down.
Right.
When to get up, when to go to lunch, when to go to the restroom, when to do this. It's so systematic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it started bothering me to the point where I didn't feel comfortable doing certain tasks. And, you know, I got the label as, oh, he's lazy. Lazy is like, I'm not willing to work.
Oh, man.
Now, was I a bit, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Like you purposely disobey.
Rebellious?
Rebellious, yes. Defiant, 100%. I was very defiant. Lazy, I was not lazy.
Guys.
Lazy, I was not lazy. I was up at 4 o'clock every morning, reading like 5 papers a day, knowing what's going on in the world so I could come and talk about it to kids, even as a teacher. I tied everything to current events. Hey, we're studying World War II, not because what I believe in this book is even real, because only the victors write the story of war. It's not about who won the war, who this, who that. It's about notice the patterns. Notice how we're still in the same war. We just call it different things.
Right.
Notice how the wars have never changed. It's like we've always been fighting over Mesopotamia. We just call it different names now.
Goodness.
So it's like let's get into those questions. And then it just led to just me just being so frustrated that I just took a leap of faith. And I just wanted to know from you, like have you ever felt that? Am I like the only one? Like, what are your experiences? You know, knowing that, like, I'm not trying to get you to compromise anything, but just like, what do you think could, like, I know I can't be crazy. There must be other educators that feel this way.
Of course.
It's like, what do they do? Like, when you have that feeling, like, what do you do with that?
I mean, you have two phases. For me, I believe that all educators go through whenever you get to that level or that understanding that there's more to what I'm doing, or what I'm doing may not be right in a sense, or not even right, but beneficial to whoever I'm educating. And those two phases are, and I couldn't give a title, but I'm going to kind of explain the two phases. It's the aha moment, and then there's the aha moment and then execution, right? And I'm going to find a title. I'm going to put a name on those two phases. So no, you're not the only one. You're not the only educator who, feels that way. With me, I was in the aha moment for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I was in an aha moment for a very long time, to where it was, I know I can see what's wrong. I know what's going on, and it's not beneficial, but I didn't do anything about it. Right. And then when I was transitioning from that phase to the second phase, which is the aha with execution, in that transition was, I began to question myself, okay, I know what's going on. I see what's going on. What do I need to do about it? What are some changes that I need to do? What type of mindset shifts need to come to play within myself in order for me to get out of the system? So when in that transition, and because of that transition, kind of took the time, pray about it. Ask God, what are you revealing to me? What is it that I'm not seeing to kind of get me out of this? And when he finally showed me, that's when the execution came apart. Came to play. Now that I'm in the execution phase, I'm not totally out of the system. As of yet, my goal is to get out of the system. And no offense to, where I'm at. No offense to, and I kind of leave them, not to say the name, God bless you.
Right.
Not to, no offense to them. Great people. I partner with great people. I had great connections, met a lot of amazing people. But in the execution right now, it's a little bit more challenging because I'm still in the system.
Right.
I'm still in the system. So it's a little bit challenging being in a system and still trying to execute to get out of the system.
It's very hard.
Yeah. It takes a lot of it takes a lot of perseverance. It takes a lot of dedication. Like, I have to wake up every single day choosing, you know what I mean? You're executing. So you have to stay focused on that. It reminds me of the story, and Holy Spirit kind of gave me this analogy, or just something to live by. We know the story of Peter and Peter on a boat, right? Peter got out the boat. He asked Jesus, can I get out the boat? Can I come to you? And I look at it as, for me, asking Jesus, can I get out the system? And how do I get out the system? And when Peter got out the boat, what happened? The waves came, and I considered the waves, the storm, as distractions, the people.
Right.
Like what you mentioned earlier about the people, looking at you irrational, instilling the self-doubt and everything else. But nevertheless, Peter got out the boat. And when he chose to focus his, eyes and gaze on Jesus, who was the mission, he began to walk on water. He did the impossible. And walked on water. What other human do we know in history have walked on water like Peter did? And the only reason why he was able to walk on water was because he set his gaze on Jesus. So I look at that, for me, in order for me to get out the system and to execute, I have to fix my eyes on Jesus.
Man, it's funny because that story probably would have helped me leave earlier. But it's funny because you, like, different stories, wow. You have to, like, always question, like, who's telling you what story, right?
Right.
I'm not, you're way better at telling stories. I'm like a principal, remember? Jonah, right? So
Yes.
If I'm wrong, Jonah's one who like didn't want to like do the mission, cast himself down under a tree.
Out of fear.
God kept forcing him to go back.
Right.
So people saw me withdrawing myself, and they were like, hey, you're like Jonah, because when you apply yourself, you do amazing work, and like almost like God's calling you to work here. But in my mind, I'm like, nah, God's calling me to leave. But then I'm being told that God's calling me to stay. And then I'm like, well, am I the one tripping or are they the one tripping? And then that's when it started really getting confusing for me, because these are also people who are strong believers as well. These aren't, and friends. So I'm like, I'm being torn because I have people telling me, no, God's testing you, see if you could fight through this and that. And he wants you to fight through it because you're going to get to here. But I'm like, that's not what I want. And like, it's not about you. So that I really had things like, am I being selfish for leaving? Because I know the impact I have on kids. Because at the end of the day, I could walk into any school that I've worked at within the last, if I've been there in the last 4 years, even neighboring schools, I'll walk in there and kids know me.
Right.
For the things that I've done for them outside of my actual job title. That I never really broadcasted. Like I never really walked around talking about the kids who I'd give money to go get a haircut.
Right.
Or get clothes for them for free. Or like just do a lot of things that I knew was God's work, but I'm like, well, why can't I do more of God's work? Why do I have to be in the system to do God's work?
Right, that part,
like,
that part.
I was always torn. I'm like, it got very difficult of who to listen to because I'm hearing both sides of it from godly people. And then, but at the end of the day, you have to, that's where your discernment has to kick in.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, I think, the hardest part for me, was to trust that, was like, because I had also, in the past, made a lot of bad decisions thinking discernment was discernment, but it was really anger or this or me acting out of emotions. So, you know, it's like a tough, it was really like tough for me to like, when you use parables, like, well, I could find a parable that would tell me that I should stay and a parable that told me I should leave. Like, which parable do you listen to?
Right.
I don't know, like, have you ever felt stuck? Like, have you ever had that question between? I don't know.
Oh yeah. And it's so funny. You know, you've gone through that. I just went through that recently, to where, because you do have people, and it's the people that you do trust, the people that, like you said, you know, are people of faith, people are, you know, of the kingdom. But that's where, like you said, discernment plays a big part. Because anybody, and I just said this yesterday. Actually, Holy Spirit revealed this to me yesterday. And it's so funny talking about it. On my way to work, Holy Spirit revealed to me there's a difference between right, what seems right to man, versus what is righteous. Right? So what is right, you know, it's glitz and glam, is something that everybody would consider right. What you're doing, you being in, you know, in the system, you being an educator in the school field, you know, that's what look right in people's eyes in regards to your life. Right. But is it really righteous? And what I mean by righteous means, are you in the will of God? Are you in right standing with God? Are you using discernment, the spirit of discernment, to kind of discern God's voice for your life as to what to do, right? So you have, like, going back, and I'm going to emphasize on discernment, because that's the key. That's the key to know what to do and what not to do. So yes, I was in that position, and Holy Spirit revealed to me again yesterday, there's a difference between right and righteous. What may look right to a man may not be righteous, may not be what the will of God is for your life. Because I have a lot of people, and you know who, I have a lot of people who, you know, are in the educational field. And nothing against, you know, the educational field. Well, the people in the educational field, let's talk about that. That's correction. Okay, God bless you.
Well, I would say that I do have something against some people in the education field. So I'll say this. You have two different types of people.
Yeah.
You have people that are under the assumption that sacrifice for something positive
Mm-hmm.
is noble.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sacrifice, even though they're not happy there, they
Mm-hmm.
do it because they feel like they're doing a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so they do
It could
that.
be
And then you have
could be in the-
people who are
out of the will
there.
of God.
Then you have the other group of people who are there
Mm.
to justify their degree
Mm-hmm.
and who want to appear to be better than what they are by using a field that allows you to always look like you're doing the right thing
Oh my
because it ideally is a good thing, but they're not righteous at all.
Go deep.
And they're there because if they had to be in a field that was truly competitive,
Mm-hmm.
where performance really mattered,
Mm-hmm.
they would get exposed for how unable and how actually not good they are at being a professional.
Right.
And so you have two camps of people.
Mm-hmm.
You have the camp of people
Mm-hmm.
who are fighting to not get exposed for how horrible they are, how inept they are, how low IQ they are,
Right.
how lack of a deep or rational thinker they are. And they can hide behind that due to they're really good at making good relationships
Mm-hmm.
with people. And I'll say this, that's one of the biggest problems with our government.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have senators that have been around forever, because they know how to work with lobbyists really well. But they don't really do anything positive for the country.
At
And you have all
all.
these other great people who would probably be really phenomenal at the job, and there's that gatekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
And that is prominent in education. And that's why education's hurting, because because of that system, it doesn't allow it to be competitive with the rest of the world. And now it's 100 years behind, and parents are realizing it,
behind.
and the population's declining.
Right.
And it's been declining since 2015.
Yes.
But it's almost like, the mortgage-backed securities,
Jesus.
you had a couple people waving like, hey, back in 2000, if you've ever seen the movie The Big Short, I think education is at that Big Short moment right now, where people have been saying, hey, if we don't change this, eventually nobody's going to want to go to public school.
At all.
And
Oh my
parents are going to
goodness.
find a way to do without it. And AI
Has changed
is
that.
showing,
Whooping them in the butt.
right, because it's the only industry
Yes.
that post-COVID
Mm-hmm.
went back to how business was done before COVID.
Right.
Every other industry has changed the way they do business,
Yep.
and it's the only one that said, no, we want to go back to the traditional way of doing it.
No.
I don't know.
We can't go back to doing the same thing.
So
Oh my
I would say
goodness.
there's a balance of those two things,
Yeah.
and the stats show it. In any business, you get your best out of an employee in the first 5 years as far as learning and development and growth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? That's also the worst retention rate in school systems.
Mm-hmm.
The first 5 years when they lose the top talent. So you're losing your top talent in the first 5 years, historically, over the last 20-something years. Why aren't you retaining top talent?
Right.
And it's not because the job is too difficult.
Mm-mm.
It's because there's something wrong with the recruiting
Mm-hmm.
and retention policies and what you're doing within the system. And quite frankly, I don't think people that are in charge of those systems, they care more about keeping their job than they care about doing the righteous thing. So they'll do the right thing and say the right things,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not going to do the righteous thing, because the righteous thing requires you to
Sacrifice.
sacrifice. And it's usually something within yourself and your own comfort.
Oh yeah.
And we're not designed to do that as humans.
No.
Most humans are in survival mode. And it's hard to do righteous things when you don't have a full cup.
Oh, explain that.
Okay. So I'll go back a little bit and I'll explain, right? I think this is in Matthew, maybe, where Jesus said that it's difficult for a rich man to get into heaven is like a camel through a eye of a needle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the eye of the needle is actually representative of like the gate of like when you get into a kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so camel getting in the hump, the
Mm-hmm.
gate, you can't really. So
Mm-hmm.
when you have a lot of resources, it's hard to be good. It's a lot. You can't judge somebody if they're good if they don't have resources to be bad,
Mm-hmm.
because you're just surviving.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying what you got to say to get by. You're not really good.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really nice.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing what you have to do to keep your job.
Right.
The only way to judge somebody's actually nice is if they have the resources to be evil and they don't.
Mm. Deep, 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 deep.
That's why I love martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
because And that's why I feel like martial arts is imperative to a curriculum, especially when it comes to males. See, if everybody in society knows how to fight, you got to really have some, you got to really have an issue with somebody that want to fight them.
Right.
Because everybody's capable.
Right.
Right? It's less bullying. So when you do nice things in a society where there are also bullies, are you nice or are you not capable of being a bully? Because if I gave you the resources, would you be a bully? And I think when you give power to people in America, they really show their hand. Because some people become bullies and some people become generous. And you can't judge that until they have the resources to be either way.
Right.
Now, also, you cannot be that generous if you're in survival mode. So if 90% of Americans are a paycheck or 2 paychecks away from being homeless, how can you actually be righteous if you don't have the freedom to be generous? Going back to the point.
I mean, but that goes back to sacrifice.
Right.
Like you said, most people are not willing to sacrifice themselves. They're not willing to die because it takes a lot.
It takes a lot, and it's hard. And I don't judge people for that. That's not my place to make the judgment. I'm just saying it's very difficult. It's even for me. There's times where I'm like, I've talked about it before. Like, dang, I want to give the church a couple $100 this week, but like,
I got to pay my bill.
I look at my app and I'm like,
Yep, that's what most. Yep,
that
most
means
of
I
us
got to
be
eat peanut
thinking.
butter and sardines this week.
Right.
Do I want to eat peanut butter and sardines this week?
And there go
Nah.
Holy Spirit convict.
I'll give them $20.
Sacrifice.
I'll give them this. Like, and is that really generosity? I mean, it is, but is it? Because your heart wanted you to do this, and you then made it. So, like, and we've all been in those places where you want to do more, but you don't, and then And I think to do the most, you have to be in a position to where you can, like, generously give.
Right.
And that's a good ambition to want to get to, but we found a way to, like, scold people for having that ambition. Yeah. Like, and it's just really weird.
And I have to emphasize on what you just said on that point. Most definitely, I had to learn how to turn off the noise with people like that. With dealing with people like that who kind of scolded me and made me feel some type of way because I wanted more. I wanted more than what I was, getting within the system, that I am getting within the system right now. And that's something that I had to, God has been teaching me. Don't cut off the noise because they're not doing what I'm telling them to do anyway. And you pull up on what I'm telling you so that way you're able to be generous. And perfect example, rest his soul, my friend, former colleague, just passed away yesterday. I'm not about to cry about it, but great man, great educator, love the kid. We're gonna keep his name confidential. Love the kids. Was a great educator. He was in the system for 25 plus years, close to 30 years, right? Giving his all. And he got cancer. He was diagnosed with cancer, and he came to me and he told me about it and was like, Miss Francois, I am not receiving time. They're not approving my time for me to go ahead and, receive treatment. So I told him, I said, okay, there's a method of, we can fix this. Let's create the solution. And I gave him a solution. Hey, ask your coworkers if we can donate time, and we did. But that wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. And because of the result of him not getting approved for his time, he passes away. So it goes back to the generosity of me pulling up on doing what God has called me to do goes beyond me. Mm-hmm. When I pull up on what God has called me to do, I'm able to be generous and give him that money. If I was in a place to where I'm at, where I want to be.
No, wouldn't it be cool just to be able to pay for someone's treatment?
Listen, I would have told my colleague, I would have told him and say, hey, don't worry about them not giving you that time. I'll pay your time. I'll give you the money. I'll pay your mortgage.
Yeah, and that's a big reason. I haven't even talked about this with a lot of people, but that was a big reason for me starting my nonprofit foundation. Yeah. Because it's just like, you want to be able to figure out ways to
provide solutions.
Make solutions happen.
Yeah, that's kingdom. That's what we're supposed to be here on the earth. We're the hands and feet of Christ here on the earth. When Jesus, right before Jesus left, he said, make disciples of all what? All nations, right? But in order for us to do that, we come on, you know?
You gotta have resources.
You gotta have resources. So
yeah, that's a tough, I mean, and that hits close to home too, because, you know, my mom passed away of cancer and she was a school teacher. So
sorry.
You know, whenever I see a teacher pass away from cancer, it always just kind of reminds me. And, you know, she was a phenomenal one. I'm not just saying that because that was my mom. I mean, it was just evident in just the amount of letters from children that would come to my house even after she was gone. Or like the stories I would hear about her, like from people. And it's just, and this kind of actually, some of these concepts kind of come from my book, too, which I will talk about. I finally wrote, you know, after not writing books forever. Was, you know, there was a sense of pride I got in seeing the way my mom poured into other kids.
Yes.
But one of the things that she was really good at was she poured into my education just as much as her kids' education. And she was able to do that because of the structure of our family. My dad worked nights. My mom worked days. So there was always somebody in the house. So I didn't really have to, like, I was always home with a parent, which is very rare.
Right.
For most.
Nowadays, yeah.
Yeah. She strategically, I had a lady, we called her mi abuela, because she didn't speak any English. She lived in the neighborhood when we lived in Miami. And she watched all of the kids of the neighborhood, which is like that village mentality, right? So all of my neighborhood friends, we grew up in Miami together, and they all were Cuban. And I was the only black one of the group. So they just all spoke Spanish to me. And I grew up speaking Spanish because of that. And we've lost that essence of village tribal mentality. But my neighborhood, we lived on this cul-de-sac, and that was a tribe. That wasn't just a neighborhood. It was a tribe. And for birthday parties, all the neighbors went to each other's houses for each of the... So it was like a little mini village. Life does not look like that anymore in America. And so I sit back and I look at why are divorce rates so high? Why are kids coming from broken homes? Like, why is this? Why is this? Why is this? Why is this? And, you know, my background psychology, so I thought the answer was in therapy and this. And, like, and to an extent, understanding the way the brain works and understanding how to behave and communicate is a piece of it. And then, you know, religion and God is the foundation of it. So it's finances. Like, I feel like the foundation is finances and God. But, like, what's the day-to-day like, right? And I started, like, just realizing, you know, okay, when did people stick together? Like, when did the drop-off happen? So I went back, you know, luckily I taught world history, so I have a little bit of history background. You go back to the hunter-gatherer days, right? You had your hunters, you had your gatherers who were farming. We were kind of transient. We didn't really stay in one location. We'd move because we didn't know how to farm yet, things like that. Women would maintain the village, yada, yada. Okay, farming, we figure out how to farm. Okay, women know how to farm, men learn how to farm, women learn how to defend, men learn how to defend. You have some female armies, etc. Hunters, this. Long story short, everybody gets to specialize in what they're best in and then go execute that for their village, right? So you need each other in relationships. Okay, fast forward, we keep going, Industrial Revolution. Same concept, even down to the 1950s with a nuclear family, one salary and a pension was good enough to raise a family of four and to buy a house and a car in America and groceries every day. So women could take a role as a home business owner. Like my great-grandmother made dresses. My grandmother ran one of the family dry cleaning businesses. People ran family businesses from the house and were home takers, right? I think we forget, you know, I think feminism teaches a lot of people that women were just only cleaning and cooking, and that's not true. Like, women have been business owners like forever, since eternity.
Right.
Even in like the Bible. Like, that's just like
right.
I don't know why people forget that, but And then like the 80s roll around and inflation starts happening and the dollar just is not as strong as it used to be. And like it requires women to go to work too. And women, what do? They go to colleges and they start doing better than men. I mean, they're capable. They've always been capable.
Right.
So, but what happens now is now you have two working individuals who are now working towards their careers. And I look at it as they're giving their best to their job and then they're giving each other the leftovers.
Yeah.
For the first time in history. So this never happened before until now.
Right.
And I think there's a certain level of pride of when you're working together in an economic unit, not as two separate economic units that combine.
Right.
Because, you know, if I have a business and my wife's the bookkeeper and like it's tax time and her accounting saved us thousands of dollars, it's like, dang, like I'm so glad I have her by my side. Like that appreciation doesn't just go into the relationship. It's like it's interwoven through the whole thing, right? And so we're at a point now where, you know, and I call it the work husband, work wife epidemic.
Oh my God.
It is very easy to like appreciate somebody who you work with more than your own family because think about it, like mentally, you're solving problems throughout the day and like conquering feats with them when that really should be done with ideally, essentially your partner.
Right.
But now you're doing it with somebody else. So like you're getting to see the best of them. You don't see how they act when they're aggy and complaining and their feet hurt at home because they're putting on their work costume to make a living.
Put it on the best.
So we're all in our work costumes to make a living. Like, so of course I seem like really smart and like really with it at work. You know, when I get home,
you just want to.
I just want to decompress and sit down and drink a beer. Like,
everything
so like,
else.
So I go home and like that's what my wife gets. So then you start seeing how people can not appreciate, especially as, like I said, eras are changing. You have Instagram, you have technology, you have this. You have all these things showing you what the world could be, and you're looking at your reality. And like you have to understand a lot of that is so fake. It's marketing to make you a consumer, not a contributor. So I sit back and I'm like, what's the solution? So, you know, you had your people who like, and I think what it did is it just caused so much division where you have, well, I don't need you, I can do it by myself. And like you have that movement where both sides, both genders are doing that. But realistically, I think the simple solution is you have to recreate that same mental effect of dependence totality. And I think the biggest solution is starting a small family business. Yeah. Incongruent with what you're doing 9 to 5. Because that forces you to work together in all different areas of life and learn to appreciate and communicate and listen and do a lot. So that's pretty much what my book is about. Like, you know, it's called Do It Right the First Time. Right. And instead of waiting, I just sat down and locked myself in my office and wrote it in 48 hours.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. So so now it's a matter of like revisioning that and doing all that. But I wanted to like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, you know, I talked about a lot of male perspective stuff, but like, I feel like that's why divorce rates are high. And I read this in, you know, Sebastian Unger's book, Tribe, in police and military and any job that requires dependence on my partner. Like, think about this. I'm a sniper in the military. I have my spotter. Like my spotter like knows me. They know how I breathe. They are aware of everything I do. They know how I smell. They're there making sure that I'm alive. I'm there making sure that they're alive. If I'm a police officer, I got my partner. Like, so it comes to the point where your partner at work will do anything for you. But then when you get home and it's like, hey, can you make me a cup of coffee? It's like, get it yourself. It's like subconsciously that's gonna wear down on you. Right. And I'm not speaking from just male, like either side of either gender, right? So I mean, I think that's part of the issue. Is so what you have is you have a group of males, and like that's where you got the whole red pill movement from, where like they're just like, no, women need to go back to just being in the kitchen. Like they very hardcore about it because they don't really know how to fix the problem. And then you have women on the other end saying, well, we don't need men because we can do, like, I don't need a man to make money. I can make money on my own. I get my own bag. So now it's like this, we've gone, instead of figuring out how to fix it in the The economic model we have is the economic model we have.
Right.
I think people have been so polarized because it's controversy sells
Mm-hmm.
and just negative in the devil. Like it's easier to say we don't need each other,
Right.
but that falls right into the agenda of like not needing people and depopulating the earth and all these other things that we can get in a whole deeper rabbit hole about. Or we could learn how do we actually reunite and what things can we do that bring back that primitive feeling of needing each other to
Right.
work together.
Right.
So you can like go either way, and I choose to be the positive route and figure out how do you work together. And I think the only way to really do that is to have to recreate those economic necessities to be together again, and that's a family business.
I agree. I agree. Well, wholly and 100%. For me, and the way that I can put it is, for the family to families, both the wife and the husband, to go back and look at your roles. It's all about roles, and knowing what role and for each person, what kind of role will be beneficial for the family. For me, and this is my personal opinion, I believe, and this is just me talking. You know what I mean? This is Sophia talking.
Right.
For me, I believe the best role is for the wife to stay at home and to, take care of the children, to take care of the household, because women, we're natural, we're nurturers. You know what I mean? And our kids need us. Not to say they don't need dad, but they need us more. You know what I mean? Of them coming out of our wombs and everything else, they need us more. So I believe it's best for the woman to stay at home, but not stay at home and just, take care of the household and take care of the kids and manage. You're don't look at it in a way, because I know the world, society make it seem like it's a bad thing for a woman to stay at home and probably consider her lazy. No, it's a strategy. That's a strategy for your household. So when your husband do, get home from working long hours of the day, you're preparing a home for him to come home to and, kind of decompress, and you're bringing on peace. You know what I mean? That's part of the family business. But, not just taking care of the household and the kids and making sure that the house is ran, but also building an empire. And this is my opinion. If with me staying at home, making sure, managing the home, managing my children, I can also build an empire. I can also build businesses. So I'm not just at home, I'm not making money. I'm making money. I am making money. But perfect example, and some people kind of misread, and they don't really kind of digest the Proverbs 31 woman. The Proverbs 31 woman, she stayed at home and she ran the house and she took care of the children. But here's the kicker. She didn't do it by herself. With the businesses that she ran, she delegated. She hired maidservants. She employed people to run her businesses. She employed people to help her with the housework. She employed people to, help with the children. So a lot of people kind of misread Proverbs 31 woman, and just like, she stayed at home and, fine linen and sewed. No, she did more than that.
Yeah, because like your neighbor might not have that entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
But you might be able to employ your neighbor
exactly.
wife to being part of, hey, listen.
Right.
You know what? I know that you don't have that in you, but you know what? Why don't you cook for both families?
Right.
I'll pay you.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
No, it does. I made, and this I'm giving out my life right now. I literally, in one sitting, one business opportunity, I created a camp a couple of years ago. This was right when COVID was ending, right? And we were able to come back and everything else. I created a camp. And within that camp, I made literally $22,000 within 6 weeks.
Wow.
Within 6 weeks. Something that I can't make within my job right now.
Right.
In 1 year. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So and that was me actually staying at home.
And that was your profit.
And that was that's my profit. That was my take home.
Yeah. So
that was my take home. So, going back to what you're saying, and I emphasize on that point, is knowing your roles, knowing in the household. And I do believe there's a decline. There's an increase in divorces because people are not knowing their roles. They don't know, hey, it's kind of hard for a woman.
Pride in their role.
Right. Say that again.
It's about having pride in your role.
Having pride in your role. Correct. And not listen to society and telling you that what you're doing, could be wrong and may be wrong. Because for me, it's kind of hard trying to, do what my husband does. I don't want to do what my husband does. I'm not trying to do my husband's job and my job. Having to go to work, manage the kids, manage the house, and build a business. It's challenging.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm building my business to where it needs to be now. So that way I can stay at home and not be not disservice my family financially. But
right. One of the best motivators to building a business is a job that you think you should leave.
Say that again.
Like the job is the motivator. Like some people, if they were to quit the job too soon,
Yeah,
they wouldn't have that same fire to build something else.
Right.
I think the job is important. I think jobs in general, I think we've forgotten like why to get a job. Like the whole point of getting a job, and from my perspective as a kid, was so I could learn this business, the ins and outs of it, so that if I ever want to do it on my own, I'd have the skill set to do it.
Correct.
And if I don't feel that passionate about it, I should probably get another job.
Right.
Because like that's just always how my mind worked. Like I learned very quickly, I don't like the restaurant industry. Like, I don't ever want to work with food.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that from working at Dunkin' Donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Like just that alone, like I'll never work with food again. And I don't want a restaurant
Right.
from that. So I think like jobs are good things.
Right.
But I think people are so quick to go on the internet and bash the 9 to 5. Like,
No.
oh, if you don't want a Lambo, like were you working a 9 to 5? Like you're lame, bro. 9 to 5, nah, bro. I don't do that. Like, well, if you never worked a job and like you went to just public school, like you essentially have no skills
At all.
So
At
you're just telling me
all.
you got lucky at 25 years old.
Right.
Well, what are you gonna do when whatever? Because remember, industries are changing very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you gonna transfer skills if you never had any to begin with?
Correct.
You got lucky. So, like I said, like the job, it's an amazing thing. I never want to come across like I'm bashing jobs.
Right.
I think the job should fuel
Right.
your desire for business.
Right.
Because you found something in you that like I could create and do this.
Right. Right. Not to stay in it.
Not to stay in it, yeah. Just
But
create.
to build, right. To
And then some
create.
people, they're not builders because they don't have the ability, not that they can't do the work. They're not in a position where they can afford the risk. And then that point, you should go back to work.
That's true. Or even sometimes being too comfortable.
Right.
When you're too familiar with something or something's so common to you and it's just a routine and it becomes, easy for you. It's not a challenge. So why not, why push the button?
Well, I think I think most people want comfort though.
Yeah.
That's like natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think only because you're wired to be an entrepreneur do you not like the idea of being comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that most people I want to make enough so I'm comfortable.
Right. Right.
They've been conditioned to think that.
Yeah. I think schools make them like that.
Yeah.
The educational system made them.
I could
like
break
that.
the
Yeah.
math down of that too.
Yeah, go ahead. Woo.
All right. So this is a funny topic. What time is it? All right, I got time. All right. Let's look at how like the grading system works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you be okay in your business mismanaging 30% of your net profit?
Of course not.
Why? That's a C.
See. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be cool mismanaging 30%?
Oh.
Why would you not be okay with that? That's a good grade, right? No, it's not. Schools don't focus on mastery. But success is all about mastery. So just inherently in the way the grading system is, it's not about being a master. It's about being below average.
Right.
It's about just being enough to get by.
Just be enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone, right? Now I can get deeper, right? Okay. This is why a lot of entrepreneurs and very successful people were not A students, right? So there is a principle. Oh, there's two principles. Okay, you have the Pareto principle. I'm not even going to say the name of it because I might butcher it. Okay, 80% of any company's progress is found in 20% of the work. All right. So let's think about that, right? So a C student, right? Why are C students great entrepreneurs, right? They found the 20% of the most important skills to learn, and they mastered it. The average student just memorized enough to pass a test. So they got the 90%, but they didn't master anything. Okay, it was the Pareto principle. The 80-20 rule. That roughly 80% of consequences come from 20% of causes. So a good entrepreneur finds the 20% that they need to master, and they delegate and hire out the rest. And that's how they become successful.
Right.
They can their 20% controls 80%. Some people focus on culture.
Right.
Some people focus on. So I don't know if do you remember were you ever in any of the meetings that I ran when I was an educator?
Yes. No.
You never went to one of my meetings, right?
No.
Okay, so the way I used to run meetings was very simple. It was very, very like, come prepared. You have 1 minute to speak. Like, we're not staying here that long, because I believe that the killer of success is meetings, because a lot of the times it becomes a brainstorm when you should have came prepared. You should do that brainstorming outside of this. And so we spend too much time in meetings. This is corporate America too. This is like not just like a school thing. Like, I think meetings are just done too much in general. And really good entrepreneurs or leaders within a company figure out what 20% of actions they have to focus on. Because there's another principle. I wish I remember these names better. Where you're going to get 50% of your work from like 10% of your employees. So you got to find the 10%, like your superstars, and treat them really well. Get them to do half the work. You focus on the 20%, that's 80% of the production, and then everything else is just kind of arbitrage. Like, you kind of, you get rid of what you don't need, hire and fire, whatever, right? AI is filling that gap. AI is filling that 20%. So the better we get at figuring out the 80 and learning how to automate the 20, people who don't think like this are not going to be successful. No. Because school teaches you to think like, I need to get 90% correct, not master 20%.
Right.
So that's why you have all of these C and D. Elon, I was an F student. Because you mastered
college dropout
20%. Mark Zuckerberg mastered 20% of what he needed to learn in Harvard. So like that's why I think it happens. So the math of school sets people up for failure.
Yeah.
You know, and really intelligent kids start looking at this as, this is stupid. I used to sit in school, I'm like, this is dumb. Like, look, I get it. Learning parabolas is important if I ever decide to be an engineer and build a bridge. But since I have actually no desire to build a bridge, and especially now that a computer can figure out the problem for me, well, I don't really know how to do that unless I really need to know how to do it in the moment. Right. It'd be better if I knew how to cut wood. If I knew how to cut wood and put nails in place and tie knots, AI can teach me the math how to build the bridge. But the computer is not going to teach me the hands-on skills on what it means to be a builder. Right. School is completely backwards.
Yeah, it is.
It's because you're learning the skills that the computer already did for you. Right. I remember my teacher telling me, you're not going to walk around with a calculator in your pocket when you get older. My iPhone is a calculator in my pocket that I walk around with. So she was dead wrong. I do have a calculator in my pocket.
Woo!
I don't need to know my times tables
What school
anymore.
did you go to?
I'm not going to talk about it. No, you got to take I avoided like certain classes like the plague in high school because I'm like, this is stupid. I don't need to know how to write like that. And the funny thing is, I have published academic work, and I was told that I was a bad writer.
My goodness.
But I've published
My
academic
goodness.
work. You know why I did that? I hate writing academic work, but I can. But I hate the process. But people don't ever ask me why I hate the process.
Right.
I hate the process of academic writing is because you don't own it. Whatever you write in school is not yours.
Right.
It's the school's.
Right. Right.
Professors make a living off doing research off the ideas of their students. Amen.
Yo.
Once I understood that, and I was like, wait a second. So I write these papers. You look at all these papers. You go, that's a good idea. Let me research that. You go get a grant, get a fellowship, get the grant, get it done, boom, get the accolades. Got a problem with that. I don't own it. I can't sell it. I can't reproduce that. That's not my writing. Oh, the journal owns it that you gave it to. Don't like that. I don't like that. Feels like I'm getting played. I sat in that dorm room and did all that research when I was told by my university I couldn't write. I don't know.
Oh my
so
goodness.
that made me feel a certain way. So I just I'll keep going about it. I mean, like, you interject when you feel like it, but I just feel like it's just so backwards, and it can be fixed. That's the problem. The powers to be don't want it to be fixed.
Of course not, because it doesn't benefit them,
Yeah, it doesn't benefit.
and that's what educational system is. If it doesn't benefit them, why change it? So if the masses suffer, I'm okay with it because it doesn't affect me.
But you know what can't change it? Legislation and competition. So it's not that you can't run a really good charter school. I think it's just that the people with the educational talent are afraid to jump on that limb to run their own schools.
Of course, and they have very well,
There's some
the
very
knowledge,
capable
wisdom.
people.
Yes.
Who, if they were to open up
I
their own
know
school,
a lot of people, a lot of educators.
man, they would steal a lot of competition.
Oh yeah.
They would take
yeah.
a lot of kids with them.
Oh,
Because there's some of these teachers out here that, like, their kids follow them. Like,
wherever.
if they do this, they're all going.
Yep.
So imagine if we had, well, I talked about tribes a lot, micro schools. Because, the government did allow, saying that any schools with vacancies, that another company
And there's gonna be an increase in
could
that. Yep. Next 2 years.
fill that space.
Mm-hmm.
Because it would be best for the school to stay open because the space is being filled by another entity.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when you have an entity that, because they're small, they're able to make changes and adapt faster and provide a better product? Then what? And then it's not a matter of, we know what would happen. It's just who's going to do it.
Right. Who's not gonna?
Because the opportunity is there.
It is. It is. The resource is there. The funding is there. The funding
Funding is there.
is there.
So who's going to do it?
Thanks to our governor. Even though most people don't agree.
There's a lot of things people don't agree with because you have to. So that's another thing. A lot of people they don't actually read bills. They read headlines.
Right.
And so they make their determinations of how they feel about laws off the headline in the newspaper and not actually reading the bill.
Right.
Because if you read the bill, you'd understand why. Perfect example. Okay? I was not offended at all when I saw that my education degree was no longer considered a professional degree status. I was not offended. It didn't offend me. Did it offend you?
No.
It didn't offend you? I'll tell you why it didn't offend me. Maybe you can tell me why it didn't offend you. See, me, I didn't go into debt to get my degree. I paid cash for it. My master's degree. Paid cash for it. My psychology and economics degree, I paid with my body by playing football. So I had no debt. Now, if my daughter came to me and said, Dad, can you give me $150,000? I want to go get an education degree. I'd say no.
No. Hard no.
I would not give her $150,000 for that. Now, if you said, Dad, can I have $150,000 to buy this property because I want to rent it out? Absolutely. If I had the money, I'd write the check. Okay? So if you wouldn't do it for your own, and many educators wouldn't do that for their own kid if they had the money. So if you wouldn't do it for your own kid, why are you expecting the government to do it? Why would I write a check for a degree that I know you'll never be able to pay back that loan because of how it's being paid? Or if you do, you're going to have to struggle to pay it back. Why would I inconvenience you like that? Why would I lie to you and make you think that that's worth getting $200,000 in debt for? Now, if you can go get the degree without getting into debt, it's worth it because we need educators. But if you got to go into debt to get that degree, and you're going to serve education better getting a degree in something else and then teaching for 5 years until you get your dream job than you would be getting an education degree and stifling yourself into debt. So they're actually kind of helping you by not designating it professional, because by not designating it professional means it gets less financial aid towards it. There's still financial aid, but you're not going to go, like, we're not going to allow you to get $200,000 into debt for that degree or this degree or this degree. But we will if you get your doctorate degree or your MD or your law degree or whatever, because those jobs will allow you to pay that loan back. So it's really, in a way, protecting you. But people take things personal because they say not professional. And then you then internalize that and you feel like, oh, they're saying I'm not a professional. Listen,
oh my goodness.
Authority is not entitled. It's granted. You take authority.
Right.
So if you don't feel like, if a law can make you feel unprofessional, you might want to question your professionalism.
Right.
Because I would have read the bill to have an understanding on the logic behind it. Now, if you disagree with that logic, that's up to you. That's why we vote. But when you think about the logic behind it, I'm not fully against it. I don't think people should go into debt for certain degrees.
No.
I think you're better off, even if it took you 10 years to pay it off, you're going to be better long-term financially
than anybody else.
Not being in the debt.
Right.
And we just tell these, and people say these crazy things like, oh, student debt is good debt. No, debt
it's not.
That's not good.
No, it's
like,
not.
I don't know where that phrase came from. Student debt is good debt.
And then you're working the rest of your life to pay off the debt. Like, that is not good debt. Like, what?
I never understood
and I
phrase.
literally, like, I met a lot of educators who think that way.
Because they were told that.
Yeah.
They were told that. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not because they're dumb. They were told. They were taught that.
Yeah.
Like, somebody taught that to them.
No,
that goes back to financial literacy.
Jesus. And this is something that we need in our schools.
Right.
We're not teaching this in our schools.
No.
So our kids are going out here, most of, and us, we've experienced that. We went out, in the real world to come to find out, get hit in the head, just to try to figure out how to make a buck out of 2 pennies.
Right.
So,
I mean, so that's my take on how the math of school down to like the grading system doesn't make any sense to laws and principles of how numbers work.
Right.
So I think you're better off learning these principles, like the 80-20 principle, than you are learning Algebra 2.
Yeah.
I think you're better off learning physics. Why is physics an honors level class that only high level seniors get to take? I think physics should be taught throughout education because physics are the laws of nature. So if you understand the laws of nature, you can then apply those to different areas of your life.
Right.
I didn't learn physics till college. I was like, man, this isn't that hard. They made it seem like it was impossible. It's easier than chemistry. So why not just learn this?
But all of this, and everything that we've been talking about, all of this, stems and it ties into the original purpose of why schools were created.
Which is?
It's to build more workers.
That's it.
Keep you in
People
the
who don't
box.
question. who move at the lunch bell and go back to the factory.
And it came from someone who
right
was
who didn't want competition.
Right.
Let's be honest. Like, people don't realize it. Like, although monopolies are technically illegal, they're not, because the system was designed by people who wanted a monopoly in certain industries. So you have to ask yourself, why do we continuously follow that system blindly?
Faithfully.
Why are we so afraid to homeschool our kids? What are we afraid that they'll be missing out on? A chance at a scholarship?
crazy.
And yeah, so that's a whole nother, that's another topic. But I think, and then we just have to find a way of educating the community better to make better decisions for their families at the end of the day. And there's no vehicle out there that's going to do that.
It's going to take people like us who are out the matrix.
Right.
Out the system.
Right. So, yeah. And then there's a lot of things I didn't realize until I left that hit me
hard.
Very hard.
Like, what was I doing?
Yeah. A lot of it has to do with how we handle behavior and the link to the prison pipeline. And how many kids did I sentence through suspension for a life in prison without realizing what I was doing?
Right.
How many kids did I condition that going to jail is okay?
Right.
Because it was convenient.
Indirectly, directly.
Right.
Wow.
So it's just a lot of it kind of, you play through different scenarios and see, like, how could that have turned differently? How could this? I mean, you do your best in the moment, and that's all you can really do. Move forward. I don't have any regrets, luckily. I had a really good mentor that kept it very basic with me, like, hey, don't do this, don't do that, and you'll be good. Cool. Simple. So, like, I never really felt the need to be a part of the teachers union because I never really broke rules. I survived the investigations that I've been removed before. So, like, I've gone through that whole process of, and I was very confident knowing that, the truth will come out. I didn't know I didn't do anything wrong. So, but it's just a tough place to be in because I don't know anybody that gets into the profession. Everybody that I know that got into the profession had this, like, positive glimmer in their eye, like, I'm going to change the world. And then, and then you realize that, I don't know if you've read, I think I told you to read Outwitting the Devil, right? Until you start realizing this world is mostly full of drifters who are just drifting. And because they're drifting, spirits leave them and come in and use them. And they don't even realize they're being used to do things or set up things. It takes a very mentally, spiritually strong person to resist becoming a drifter. And I feel like if you haven't read that book,
you need to read that. How does a drifter look? For those who don't really know what you mean by drifters.
Okay. Here's a sad thing. If you don't know, you probably are a drifter.
Light bulb.
That is the sad thing. So, if what I said went over your head, read the book, because I was a drifter. And then I said, "Oh wow,
what am I didn't realize doing?"
Right. So, it's just very simple. I urge anybody to do this, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Take the day off of work and sit and observe the behaviors of people that go to work every day. Notice the blind look on their face as they walk in and get their coffee at Starbucks, rush to their car, walk across the street without even looking, almost got hit by a car, didn't even notice it. They didn't even know they almost died. They just, because they're in a rush, they're not even looking. Switching lanes, doing their makeup in their car, doing this. Like, you'll see, it's like, and ask yourself, like, does that make sense? Like, does texting while you're driving your boss that you did this really make sense? But you do it anyway. And you start realizing that that's just one example. But, like, really, if you just took the time off to people watch people on a work day, which is kind of hard to do because, like, you have to be at a workplace and then not work at the same time. So it's a weird activity I'm asking you to do. But, like, just try to leave your body and observe the people around you at work. Or you start seeing the automatic behaviors that people are just doing because they're conditioned. And I think I learned this from observing rats when I was in college. Like, I had to do all these experiments where I had to observe rats and, like, write about, we would cut the testicles off a male rat, put it in the cage with a pregnant rat, see how
Oh
they
my
act.
goodness.
And you have to, and like, so sitting there and watching behavior for like 45 minutes of rats, it was so boring, but I understood. It taught me a lot about human behaviors when I watch humans. So I use that as an example. Like, just sit back and watch people. And you'll see the automatic things they do. You'll see them on autopilot. Listen to the way they breathe. Like, they breathe. They're breathing out there in panic mode. Like,
survival mode.
They're in survival mode. You'll see it. You see the way they breathe, the way they talk. So it's like, yo, we weren't put here just to survive. Put here to be creative. It's like, why are you
Come
out
on
of that
now,
creative?
talk about it.
Yeah, it's like you start seeing it and you realize, damn, some people before you know it, like, I'm 40. What did I do my whole 30s? That feeling you get when you're driving and you dissociate, like, damn, I don't remember driving this far, is the same thing you're doing with your life. Before you look back, you're like, you look at a picture, like, damn.
I wish I would have went there.
Yeah, so that's
I wish
drifting.
I should have done this.
Yeah.
And by the time you get out of the system, it's already too late. You're all crumpled up. You can't walk. You can't move.
Or that's drifting.
Yeah.
So we all do it.
Yeah.
Right? The goal is to just not stay there.
Yeah.
And to pull yourself out of it. So that's a must-read book. I mean, it's my favorite book, other than the Bible. So, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What would you say to those who are out of this? Hold on. We got to pause on that. Hold on. Wait a minute. Nah, I ain't going to answer that question.
You don't want to answer?
No.
Okay.
We're going to edit that part out. God bless you. Yeah,
that's an off-camera question?
Yeah, it's an off-camera question. God bless you. I got to remember my husband is a principal, and he's still... Don't get this part.
Right.
I still got to stay within... Always staying within the confinement.
Stay within frame.
And I'm trying to... And this is out camera. I'm trying to filter... I'm trying to stay within the...
Yeah, the parameters.
Yeah, I know if you notice that if I'm not as vocal.
It's cool. It's fine.
Okay.
Am I staying within the parameters?
No, you are. Because you're out of the system, so you're able to digest. You get what I'm saying? You're able to go in. And I didn't want to interrupt you and say certain things because I'm like, you're in the moment.
Right.
And it's too good for me to kind of interject.
And it's only me saying it, so it is what it is.
Right.
I say it.
Right. So I didn't want to mess up that moment.
Yeah.
I didn't want to mess up that moment. But yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Did you figure out how to ask the question?
No, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to ask that question. I'm not going to go there. Okay. I'm not going to go there.
All right. All right. So going back a little bit, backpedaling about like marriages and working together and like building. One of the things that always kind of bothered me was the decline in specifically Black marriages in America, right? So what do you think is it that? What do you think is that's different about Black marriage that going back to my timeline, in the 1960s, 90% of Black households went to church every Sunday and were married. How did we get to where we're at now when the Black family was one of the strongest family units in America pre-civil rights movement?
Survival. Things have changed over the years. Like you said earlier, and you touched on that, the economy has changed. And because the economy is, constantly increasing, everyone's on survival mode. So it's more so, now our focus has shifted from, making sure that the family unit is together and that the family unit is strong. Now we're focused on, how can I pay this bill? How can I keep my family from being homeless? And then once we tap into that versus let me focus on the family unit. Let me make certain sacrifices to keep the family unit. And, the focus is now on how to pay the bill. That's when we become the drifters, right? Like you mentioned earlier. And in that process of drifting, now you forget about going back to making the sacrifices that you need to make the family, to keep the family unit strong. So then that's when you see the increase of, Black families, or not just even Black families, all races, all families. You start to see the increase of divorces. I know definitely I can speak from my own experience with my mom and my dad. And that was one of the things as well. And because of that, You know, you create your own life when you're going, you know, at the same rate in different two places, you know, in two different places, versus let's have a strategy. Let's have a strategy in place to where we can survive, but we're still keeping the family unit together. So, and my example earlier was let's figure out our roles. Let's take pride in our roles. Let's take pride in our roles.
So going back to the part, that makes sense. Yeah, I know. It's definitely, you see it in all families. It's funny because one of the things that my grandmother and I used to argue about, and then now I kind of see things her way a little bit more. The more I study the nuances of like history and stuff. When I was young, she used to always tell me that times were better before the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What are you talking about? You sound crazy."
Yeah.
And then like I'm not gonna like we had a very like dark sense of humor, so I used to call her like, you know, like, well, I'm not even gonna go there. So we used to have like funny names for each other, like, and then she said, "No, you don't understand. Like, what you don't understand is that during segregation, we had more money." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "We all owned our own homes. We couldn't go to the white folks' business, so we had to create our own."
Right.
I was like, "Huh." And it's not like we didn't get along. Like media will like make you think that we just didn't get along. Like we didn't communicate with white family. Like that wasn't the reality. Like there are just like in all cultures, like there are certain groups in every culture that are just hateful groups. But to say that like in the 1960s, all white people were racist, and that's not true. Like she would show me pictures of like, so yeah, this lady, she made my wedding dress. This is very nice.
Right.
This woman did this for me. This was your uncle's friend. Like this is that. And don't get me wrong. She would tell me, don't get me wrong. Back when she was a kid, she grew up in the 20s. You know, it was very different then. But like a lot of time evolved from the 20s to the 60s. That it's not like it was just Jim Crow era and then boom, we all integrated. Like there was a transitional period where, you know, black men and white men were doing business together. Like I have photos of my uncle doing business with, he's at a table of mixed races.
Right.
In the 40s and 50s. You know,
right.
So it's not like it didn't happen. And this is in the South. So it's just that, you know, she was like, it wasn't as bad as people act like it is now who didn't live it, is what she would tell me. She's like, economically, things are worse. Although we have more opportunity. She said, you guys have more opportunity, but economically, you're doing worse. And I used to always wonder, and it would come down to consumerism. Because like, now that you can, it's like, well, I want the BMW, oh, I want this, or I want that. And we got so materialistic. I would say that if I were to answer the question I asked you, I think that in our culture, it's so materialism based, and I think hip hop fuels that.
Of course.
And I think it's a major problem.
Of course, it is.
Because it's like, I mean, it used to be cool to like, Biggie rapped about getting a Lexus. And like, a Lexus is like a basic car now that like, if you're a rapper rapping about your Lexus, they laugh at you. Like, you gotta have a Bugatti now.
Right.
Like,
the power of entertainment.
It's just crazy how it went from like having a Lexus was considered stunting.
Now,
you know, wearing a throwback jersey was like,
right.
Oh, you got to throwback on some Jordans. Now you got to have Balenciaga and a Birkin bag, $30,000 purse.
That's the power.
It's just crazy how much that scaled so fast.
Right. That's the power of entertainment. And somebody actually schooled me on the word. Think about it. Entertainment. Entertainment. It enters. It tains you, right? You kind of, it manipulates you, controls you, right? To where you do the actual movement, right? So I can agree with that, with, you know, the hip hop culture, not just with the hip hop culture, with just entertainment.
Sports too.
Yeah.
You know, anything entertainment, like you have to kind of control
huge
how much
influence.
You consume. Yeah. It's funny. Me and my friend were just talking about this yesterday. Like, it's crazy how you ask the average young kid, like, what do you want to do? I want to be in the NFL.
Football.
And so,
basketball.
Okay, and we were breaking down the numbers, right? So, there's 90,000 college football players active right now, and 0.24 of them will play in the NFL. So, let's back up now. Of the 90,000 active college football players, they represent the 7% of high school kids that even got to college playing football.
Goodness.
Only 7% of high school players make it to college playing football. And then of that 7%, only 0.2% play in the NFL. So
what do we say?
It's not saying that is a bad goal, right? Cool if you want to be. But what we need to do a better job of, if you're of not that caliber, being honest with people and say, change your goal. Change your goal. Learn another skill that can support that. You love sports so much, learn the management side. You love sports so much, learn the medical side. You love sports so much,
there's so many different facets to that industry.
You love sports so much, learn the broadcasting side.
Right.
Learn all the adjacent careers in every field that are sport adjacent that you can be amazing in and still have your love for the game. Because guess what? Father Time's undefeated, and no matter what, you're going to have to retire from sports and do something else with your life before you die. So why don't you learn the skill now too? And I'm not telling you don't play, but have the adjacent skill ready so that the second your playing days are over, you can roll into this as opposed to sitting home depressed, not knowing what to do, feeling like your life is over. Because a lot of athletes go through that feeling of, damn, like they feel worthless because they put everything they had into their dream of becoming an athlete. And
it doesn't work out.
It doesn't work out because mathematically there's not enough room for everybody that's great. There's a lot of great people that don't make it. They're great. They deserve to be there, but the numbers don't allow that many people
to come in.
Right. Whereas there's no limited number of LLCs that can be created.
My goodness.
Like they don't have a limit on that. Like there's no like, oh sorry, this is the LLC draft of Florida, only 200 this year. So why not teach those skills?
We need to do the same thing for educators, new educators, those who are going, even though there's a decline in, people coming into the educational field, but there's still a number of, college graduates who want to be educators, who want to go into that, become teachers.
Right.
And tell them, hey,
So you know what my solution for that is, right?
What is it?
We need to stop making educators and start teaching professionals how to educate. And then what we do is you have a bunch of part-time professionals that are experts that you teach them the skills of educating. You teach them pedagogy of what they're already talented in, and then teach them how to employ that pedagogy using AI, because it's here, to be educators.
Yes.
So I'd rather have a faculty of 300 part-time teachers who are all experts in another field than 150 educators.
Correct. So true.
For instance, we're doing our podcast.
But that doesn't tie into the educational system, because the educational system,
change it. Like, so I would have TV production class, but it wouldn't be a teacher. I'd have somebody who runs a studio.
Right. Or been in the film industry.
What hour are you free? Oh, I'm free from 1 to 2 every day.
Come
in.
Okay,
guess what? I'm going to pay you.
Right.
What's your hourly rate? I'm going to pay that for you to come teach these kids. Now, imagine if you did that, because you wouldn't have to pay them benefits.
Right.
Because they're part-time.
Right.
So you save all the benefits money.
Oh, come on.
And then now...
You save the district money.
And then now I hire a bunch of people that are in the industry to come teach. Part-time. See, I'm not about bashing with no solutions. I got solutions.
Right.
I just know that my voice is really never that. Like, you have to step outside
the box
to build the voice and the brand authority to then influence.
Let's go.
So my passion is always going to be about fixing the education system.
Right.
I just know that the answers can't be done while you're working the job.
No, it can't at all.
Because it requires too much revolution.
You got to change. You got to step out so that way your mindset shifts.
Right.
You can't change the system and you have the same mindset as everybody else that's in the system.
And that's something I've been doing, actually. So there's a school I've been going to on like one Friday a month, and I teach financial literacy. And the kids have been like, one kid came up to me and said, well, you just like came here and taught us that for free? I said, yes. He goes, nobody's ever taught us something like that before, though. How much did they pay you? They didn't pay me.
Right, because they're teaching you
He's
X squared plus
B2
equals Y.
But like, why would you...
That was horrible and algebra.
They're like, why would you do it for free? And I'm like, so that I could prove that the concept works for myself.
Goodness.
And it does work because the kids were like engaged. Because then they're asking me career questions now. Like, oh, how did you get into finance? Or how did you do this? Or how did you do that? Like, it's actually very simple. You don't need a degree. You just need to pass these tests. You just need to do this. You have to do that. Oh. So they start realizing that there's so many career paths out there. So imagine if they had all these different professionals coming in on a, it's not, career fair is not just one day now. Mm-mm. Career fair is every day.
Right. Say that again.
Career fair becomes every day now.
Every single day.
And I think that is just one very simple thing. Now imagine that on a hybrid model. We could be at Zoom, at home, or in person.
And we're pulling up on these kids' purposes. Right. We're tapping into their purpose and what they're called to do.
Right. So that's just one simple solution. I'm sure we can think about more. But really thanks for coming on, having this discussion with me. It's one of those unscriptured, yeah, just like, hey, like
conversations that we normally have.
I wanted to finally be on camera so people could just take these type of conversations and have them amongst yourselves, because I do feel like as a collective society, we have all the answers already to solve every problem that's around, and the evidence of that is that we're still in existence. Because we've conquered many problems in the past.
Right.
So there's no problem that's too big for us. No. It's just a matter of, are we willing to sit down and not think about ourselves for just a moment, to think about what could actually be better, and then go and do the work.
That's it.
What do you think?
Step out the box. That's my take. Step out the system. Step out the matrix.